situation you don't realize. So let's examine with a critical eye. Put on your glasses and let it magnify the truth that lies hidden under all those lies. Cause everybody has nobility, and if you look beyond what your eyes can see, you'll see they're just like you and me, and now we're giving you the remedy. Welcome to the Remedy Podcast. This podcast is a project of WEBB Squared, a North Carolina nonprofit that works to increase wealth for Black businesses through connection, network, and opportunity. Our host is Stephanie Terry, the Executive Director of WEBB Squared, and our co-hosts are Associate Director Rinnie and myself, Mashallah Salaam. I am the Media and Production Specialist. In this podcast, we hope to bring consciousness to the racial divide and speak on emerging new narratives about race. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you will enjoy the podcast.
Good morning, beautiful people.
Good morning.
It's Podcast Tuesday. Finally, it's Podcast Tuesday and not Friday or Wednesday.
No, it's Thursday, sweetheart. It's Thursday.
Oh, today's Thursday? Oh my God. Is it Thursday?
It is, because we have our Commonwealth Network meeting at noon.
Oh, so it's Podcast Thursday for Tuesday.
Yeah, all of these days, I can't even get over that it's December,
Yes.
I feel like we just celebrated the new year and all of a sudden it's December.
So go ahead. No, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rinnie.
No, I was just going to ask if you all had your Christmas plans laid out yet. Like, what are you going to be doing?
Cooking, eating.
No travels. Your children are coming, Stephanie?
I get to see my grandchildren that live in Pensacola, Florida. No, excuse me, St. Petersburg, Florida. So little Nora and little Maverick, who I miss dearly. They're my oldest son's children. So he's bringing them up, and I get to see him. So yay!
Oh.
Rinnie?
Oh, you know me. It's just me and my mom. We're doing Trader Joe's Christmas this year. She went crazy at Trader Joe's and bought all kinds of yummy treats. And
is there any Indian food in that Trader Joe's purchase?
No, but you know what we found? We found South Korean short ribs. Yeah, I was like, okay, we gotta try these.
Speaking of Trader Joe's Indian food, I really love getting their samosas, and I get the mango ginger chutney to go with it, and it's really good.
It's good.
Yeah. I just want to clarify, we are not paid by Trader Joe's to bring them up in this podcast. They are not a corporate sponsor.
We're sure not.
We're just chatting about them.
So I had something serious happen this week. I have a son who lives in New York who I hadn't heard from in a long time, and I got worried and fearful, and was trying to, everybody was trying to contact him, but finally we were able to. I talked with him. Oh, yesterday. That's a mother's heart. Oh my
gosh, I couldn't even imagine how you must have been feeling.
Oh my God, yeah. So I'm just grateful and thankful that he's well and alive. And I was so happy to hear his voice that I didn't even go off on him the way I wanted to.
Later. Later.
It's like a mother's going to hold this one to just the right moment.
Do you remember that time you didn't get in touch with me for a couple of weeks? A year ago? I'm still angry about it.
Yes.
Hey, how long did you say it was?
Months and months. I mean, he was in contact with his brothers and sisters, probably last was September, but they hadn't heard from him since September, and I hadn't heard from him since prior to then. So I just started freaking out. I started freaking out. So, but yeah, he's okay. I went to drastic measures and he's okay.
Oh, that's good.
So that was my week. What about y'all?
I don't know if we could.
Nobody can top the missing son.
just working and planning, and we talked about how we were going to talk today about meditation and being in the present moment, and I'm like this morning going, I am never in the present moment. I am like always thinking about like what needs to be done.
Well, we're gonna have to learn. Mashallah,
Okay.
you what you said, Mashallah?
Yesterday, I was working and, we had another meeting and it turned out really great. And after that, I had a dream that somebody asked me what I do for a living, and I proudly stated it. And, I was excited and I felt like I could tell it was a dream, but I just knew in that moment that I was finally feeling confident in who I am and what I do. And I woke up like just so happy.
Nice.
Oh, that is such a great dream to have,
Isn't it? You know,
Need more
you
dreams.
know. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So,
And you know what I'm really happy about, Mashallah? You just have such a light. I mean, your whole radiance is like a gift to this world, and I can't wait to just see like in the years to come how you develop that, and I mean your vision for like your business and all of that. I just can't wait to witness
Yes.
it all, the unfolding of it all.
Thank you.
yes. So,
Stephanie.
let's talk about the world of being.
The world of being. Is that what you said? The world of being?
The world of being.
How much coffee did you have this morning?
What does that mean? What does being mean? I mean, we are human being. What are we being? What does that mean? This is a high question, except none of us smoke.
that we know of, right? So that is a really good question, because the whole idea is like being is like a human being is a noun. You're like a member of the human race. You're a being, but then there's being like in the moment or being active. It's like a verb. And it's a really good question. Like, what does being mean?
What does being mean? As y'all are talking, I'm gonna Google it, because that's what these phones are for.
But I mean, it's really like you said, it's like to unpack that a little bit. Are we talking about being human? Oh, there's the word being human, or are we talking about it in a more active sense, like we're just being a human?
So, according to Google Dictionary, which it says here is the definition from Oxford Languages, being means existence. That's the first definition. And then the second definition is the nature or essence of a person.
And is that when you use it as a verb, like I'm being a human?
Yeah, so yeah, like a state of existence. And then it gets confusing. Because sometimes you can think about it as like, what am I being?
Yeah, I'm being an artist. I'm being a founder of a nonprofit. I'm being, I'm being myself. What does that mean? I'm being myself.
But a state of existence.
Yeah.
So like, I guess a state of a living existence, right? Anyway, instead of all this mumbo jumbo, I already have this was a setup question. Because I already had a preconceived notion of what being is to start this conversation.
Are you going to tell us, or are you just going to tease us?
I'm going to tell you. So to me, being means thinking, feeling, and doing. Acting, like doing stuff. So thinking, feeling, and doing. And then being conscious of all that. Is what it makes human beings unique beings. Not beings, beings.
Because like animal beings are different because they act, but they don't have consciousness of their actions, right?
I guess.
That we know of.
That we know of.
Yeah, I always wondered though, like, since we can't talk with animals, like, what are they really thinking? Because sometimes dogs will get jealous
And you can tell, and it's so obvious, like they want that attention.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
they're aware of some things. You know, since I have a cat, I've been watching a lot of cat videos on YouTube. There's this guy, Jackson Galaxy, who knows everything there is to know about cats. And he says cats can't think into the future. You know, if they're not going to be thinking about like, how can I get even with this person, and I will leave them a bird on their bed, that kind of thing, you know, but they're very much in the present moments. And I think probably, I mean, we spent time with LeBron yesterday in the office. He's very much a dog that's in the present moment. You know, he's not thinking too much about where he's going to go, or, you know, he's just happy in the office. So that kind of separates us from the animal world as well, is that we project a lot about the future. We get hung up a lot about the past, that the things that shape us in our childhood, we're still unpacking as adults, you know, to like be a good human being. You know, we have to dwell deep into our psyche to find out what's wrong with us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing that makes us unique from standing out from the animal kingdom, is that we live in the past and we live in the future a lot. And you made us watch that, well, you didn't make us watch that video about meditation and being in the present moment, but I think we as human beings don't live in the present moment as well as like the animal critters that we live with.
Yeah, I think that I guess, what is that called? Like maybe being aware of time, mm-hmm. right? And there's a difference between like habit and memory, you know, and identity. So there's just some subtle but very significant, I think, gaps in consciousness that differentiate human beings from other conscious living beings, because there's no way, if you've owned a pet, they are definitely or have consciousness, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And they can definitely feel, right? And react to feeling, and even do things to like get you to pet them. Like, but there's something significantly different with a human being, because we actually get to, or we have the ability or the potential, the choice, whatever you want to call it, to identify, like hold an identity outside of the one that we're born with, like understand ourselves from different perspectives, manipulate material things and energy in ways that are far more, you know, of a different order than, you know, like our pets and the animals and even the trees. And like, so all living beings are infused with life force that is conscious to their particular order. But we have a huge ability, potential, and actuality to like know that we're knowing. As long as human beings mm-hmm. remain either like unconscious of, or we downplay just how powerful the potential of like what it means to be a human being is, we will continue to be manipulated by people that do understand the power and agency inherent to all human beings. Like, as long as the masses just continue to not understand the power that is in them, then there will be, you know, groups of people that exploit, manipulate, and profit off of that unawareness.
I hear you. And I guess I'm just like, as I listen to you and I think about the work that we're creating and doing, I mean, we're going to be onboarding 20 entrepreneurs in January into our program, and infusing that kind of wisdom into our program in order to help people build better businesses. It's really exciting.
Build better businesses and be powerful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You know, and like really connect to underneath the product and service. Like, how does your product and service express itself as a value? we want to be working with people that are bringing in values that enable people to, experience more joy in their lives, or grow in some form or fashion. Listen, we have invested so much energy and study into the material world, right? But the investment and study of like our energy, the invisible world, our unconscious, like the spiritual part of who we are, the energetic part of who we are, like outside of religion, it just, in fact, it just goes into like, oh, that means religion. And it has meant religion, but it's more, it transcends religion. It's our essence as human beings. And like, if we don't understand like what we are and how we may not understand how we were made, but we can definitely, we're always searching for why we were made, like purpose and meaning, right? We have mechanisms that come with being a human being that allow us to create all types of things or miscreate.
At what point in your life did you realize that for yourself?
That's a good question, Mashallah. Please know that I read this somewhere. I think my first book that I read, I'm trying to remember, it was probably a Neil Donald Walsh. Have you ever heard of Conversations with God?
I've heard the title.
Okay, so I read that book in my 20s. So I've intellectually knew it and understood it, but I didn't be it. It took life and experiences and to actually begin to step out on faith and actually practice and become what one of I love this woman. She's a Native American from Robeson County here. Her name is Kim Peavy, and she said, just because you know something, that don't mean you do it or you be it. Like, she said, shoot, I know all the things you're supposed to do to lose weight. And I do too, and that don't mean I do it. Knowing something and doing something and being something are different levels of knowing.
So you talk about, that's a good example, like losing weight, how we know what to do, but we often don't do it. What do you think is at play within us as in our psyche or our psychology that keeps us from doing the things that are in our best interest?
Rinnie, I can't believe you asked that question. What do you think, Mashallah?
No, I mean, seriously, I think that there's in so many different levels, like we plug along and we do what we do. And I know there's habit is involved and maybe our routines or whatnot, but it does feel like so often human beings act in their own, not best interests.
Yeah, maybe people are dreading the work that goes into it, so they put it off, like procrastinate, and they're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, or oh, I'll start next year at the beginning of the new year.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe you asked that, because when we started the podcast, I have one of my notebook of musings open.
Oh, please.
Right?
Are you going to read it?
Yeah, so I had key point. Unless you have something big enough and wide enough to give up your point of view for, you won't. And so maybe that's what it is. We have our reasons or beliefs that undergird our habits, like how we look, what our life looks like. Like we have our reasons or beliefs that undergird that. And a lot of time it's unconscious. For example, do I want to talk about weight?
Sure.
No.
Actually,
I'll talk about weight. I think about it all the time. I get on the scale and I'm like, oh, my weight's going in the wrong direction. It needs to go that way. It's going that way.
With the losing weight thing, have you noticed that a lot of people are more motivated to lose weight after a bad breakup? Even if they felt like it was an issue before then, they don't necessarily feel compelled to actually start losing the weight until they have that. Or is it the fact that hurt might push them into that direction? Like, oh, I want to show them, because they actually have a reason now, like they're gonna see what they missed out on type of thing.
Bingo. And so unless they have something big enough and wide enough to give up their point of view for, and unfortunately the motivation of proving yourself is a big one.
Yeah, that's where I was going into, like that feeling of, oh, I'm gonna prove them wrong, or I'm gonna prove myself.
Well, yeah.
Rinnie?
There's part of that, and everything that I do the last couple of years is like, I've got something to prove.
Yeah. And
I don't know if that's the best motivation. Like, sometimes I'm like, I just want to be happy. And yet there's this part of me that's like, I've got something to prove. I've got an axe to grind, and I like the work that we're doing, and I don't want it all to be motivated on, I've got something to prove to the world.
Yeah.
So whenever I got really serious about losing weight, what it should have been about was health, having more energy. But what it was really about was self-image in the eyes of how I think other people are looking at me. Or trying to lure some unsuspecting man.
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah. So, and then when I got married, I was like, oh, now I can relax. So that's pretty terrible. Oh my gosh.
Feels like we're getting off topic a little bit.
We are.
Was there another deep question you wanted to ask us?
We went down a rabbit hole. But let me climb out the rabbit hole. But what I'm trying to say is that being addicted to what other people think, image, right, is not the route to happiness. You see how I climbed out that rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Because you're still placing the responsibility of how you feel on something outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, Stephanie. That was good. So what we have to do instead is to uncover those beliefs that we have about ourselves and ask, are they true? What is this vision that we're holding? Because if you actually hold a vision in your mind's eye, you will do the things to meet that vision, whether you realize it or not. And most of the time, the beliefs that we're holding is some straight bull canappy. Oh, I'm a loser. I always fail. Nobody likes me. I'm not that attractive. I wish my hair was longer. I don't have any money. People only like me for my money. People don't like me because I don't have money. You know what I mean? It's so, and then we live into that, but it's not conscious. It's, that negative self-talk, or the images people project on you, or the images from media, magazines, oh, I don't look like that, why don't I look like that? And then we live into that, or we get motivated by it and try to be like that.
So what do you think is the answer? I mean one thing is just to not be around people.
No, that's not the answer.
No, I'm saying that's one answer, is to not be around people and just be by yourself. And that's not a good answer. Another answer, I think, then this is the one where most people they just kind of fall into their routines, and they don't think about those things, and they just keep living into that. And then the other answer is to just do a lot of self-work and go to counseling and to do the spiritual work and to unpack all of that. And not everybody's willing to do that, but when we have all of these people walking around without self-reflection and falling into the rabbit holes of other people's ideologies and stuff, because it helps them not have to uncover their own psyche. We just don't get any further progressing along as a human race that actually lives in community and is interdependent and can, meet each other's needs. It's just, I don't know. if I'm making any sense, but
You are. But there's an answer that you didn't raise.
yeah, because I probably didn't think of it. What's the answer?
That we get, remember, as human beings, we get to decide who and what we identify with. We actually get to decide that. And so how about making a decision to identify more with the part of us that is not material?
So you're saying we need to go more into our spiritual selves.
Into our being. Remember we were talking about
our spiritual being. There's a lot of people out there who don't spend any time in their spiritual being. It's all very physical.
Yeah. Well, we all know what happens to physical, right? Eventually it's going to break. Eventually the flower is going to wither. Eventually the leaves are going to fall. It's inevitable with change. But there is a part of us, and how can we forget? I'm saying we because I do it every day. I forget. There's a part of us that is like, first off, that's just alive. It's alive. It's life. And for thousands of years, man, woman have realized that there's a part of ourselves that is so mysterious, right? That animates us, right? And as human beings, we get to like think and reflect about that. We really do. And because, we're not at the beginning of time. I don't know where we are from the beginning of time, but we've been here a long doggone time. And so people have written those reflections down, like, pretty genius, brilliant people. So if you want to, read it, you can. Or if you want to reflect in your own self, you can do that too. But we don't have to identify with the part of us that is the most perishable day in and day out. Like we have a choice.
Yeah.
And it's how you decide to use your thinking and feeling is what will determine how lasting that feeling of joy and happiness and light. We actually can decide. We're not subject. We're not like a dog that is dependent on if my owner pets me and feeds me and takes me out for a walk to the place that I don't know what it's called, but I like being there. We have consciousness of consciousness. We get to decide. And so that's the answer. Look, I'm just telling y'all, I know I don't have no PhD, but I'm telling you, that's the answer.
Wow. Stephanie, thousands and thousands of years of philosophical and spiritual reflection from billions of people around the world, and you have the answer.
Yeah, because they're part of me.
And this is the Remedy podcast. This is the Remedy podcast, and we're giving everybody else the answer too.
They're part of us. We're all connected. We have access to.
I told you the Remedy was a good name for this podcast.
Yes. No, but seriously, no. I don't have the answer.
You have
I have a answer.
Well, I'm really very fortunate that I work with you and that you have a lot of answers, and it really does make this work very joyful. So thank you.
I love y'all. This is so much better. We're doing it in the morning in pajamas. I mean, this is great. I'm gonna go have some breakfast after this.
All right. So is there anything else big that we should maybe talk about before we
I actually have a question for
everyone.
So it's kind of similar to the other one, but at which moment did you realize your own power? Is there a story that you could tell, or a moment where you realized that you had more power than you thought?
Rinnie, you want to take that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about after the pandemic, and all of a sudden I'm living alone and I don't have a job, and all of my community is scattered and everyone's in their homes, and there's no place to go and nothing to do. And I spent like almost that first year by myself doing art, reading the books I wanted to read, being away from everybody and anything that's ever said you were this or you were that. And it was a very like illuminating time for me because I started to get in touch with like spiritual things within inside of me that had always been there but kind of been hidden because I have just had all this like structure and society and people all over the place, all over the time telling me who I am and what I am, and unpacking all of that and having that space to actually step inside myself a little bit more and know who I am and what gifts I have to offer this world without listening to any voices around me. So in that sense, for me, the pandemic has actually been a really big gift because I feel like I emerged from that space full of creativity and ideas. And not only that, like certain boldness in order to share those ideas with people and say, hey, let's do that and let's do this and act on them and create new things in the world that are powerful and hopefully give hope and to other people. So
yeah, beautiful.
That's my short story.
Well, we don't have time for my crack project ghetto story.
Wait, what?
My story, when I've learned I was powerful, I was living in the projects in the hood, and I was dealing with a person who was addicted to crack. But we don't have time, so I'll tell y'all later.
Yeah, well, we do want to hear this story at some point, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. A dear person that I was in love with stole my car while he was addicted to crack. And I had to walk to work, and when the buses wasn't running on the weekends. And anyway, so this was going on for a good 3 months. And as the cars were driving by me in the summer, it was hot. And I was like, whoa, it's me. I don't have a car. I'm a loser. It's my fault. Why everybody is better than me? They have a car. I don't. Da, da, da. Anyway, and as I was walking, I had a lot of time to think. And I was like, everybody in this car, everybody has a car is better than you. Everybody in the car has good credit. Everybody. And I was like, no, that can't be true. So I started questioning my beliefs about all the people that had a car. and why I didn't have a car. And I just started going through like one by one on my way home. I was like, because I was like, the only way I can get a car is if I have money and if I have good credit. No one's going to give me a car because I don't have good credit. I don't have money. And I just was like, well, everybody that you see right now in the car, no, some of them maybe somebody gave them a car. They may be using somebody's car. Like, anyway, I started questioning my beliefs. And by the time I got home, I was like, oh, so there's a million realms of possibility to get a car besides the one little, road I was on thinking about. And because I don't have a car, it doesn't mean anything about me. And anyway, by the time I got home, I was pretty joyful. And I went in and I started cooking dinner. I was happy to see my kids, and I got a phone call. Mind you, this is like 3 months after my car was, taken and the person had left my life. And they said, Mrs. Perry, this is the police department. We found your vehicle. And I was like, what? And they said, yeah, we went and just took it to the repair shop so you can call them. And then I called the repair shop and they were like, yeah, you got a busted tire and it was just dirty, but we can fix that for you. And like 3 days later, I was back in my car.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, so I just like changed my mind.
Wow.
So we just ain't talking this stuff, we walking it. But look, it's breakfast time.
All right. Well, let's just remember that the revolution begins with dialogue, and we have a pretty good dialogue going on here. So, folks, we are starting a revolution.
Awesome. Bye. Y'all have a good rest of the week.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been a joint podcast of WEBB Squared and Afro Future Productions. For those of you interested in learning more about our work at WEBB Squared, you can find out more at webbsquared.org. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This is our conscious conversation. We hope you will subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform. Join the Remedy Membership Forum on Patreon to join us monthly for our members-only discussion. That's it for today. Until next week, thanks for listening.
What's underneath the situation you don't realize? So let's examine with a critical eye. Put on your glasses and let it magnify the truth that lies hidden under all those lies. Cause everybody has nobility, and if you look beyond what your eyes can see, you'll see they're just like you and me, and now we're giving you the remedy. The remedy.